The Joe Biden criminal bribery, nepotism, extortion conspiracy theory continues to crumble before our very eyes. And I'm going to admit, I am enjoying seeing this happen. We have now numerous examples of when a Republican alleges all sorts of wrongdoing by Joe Biden. A reporter, sometimes a good reporter, sometimes a shill, who knows? A reporter asks, "Oh, what evidence do you have?" And they go, "Well, we don't really have any actual evidence." Here's the latest hilarious moment. This is Fox News propagandist Maria Bartiromo interviewing Republican Congresswoman Lisa McClain and asks, okay, there's this general allegation that Joe Biden was setting policy based on who had bribed him. Maybe China bribed him. Is there any specific policy you can tell me that was influenced by Joe Biden being paid? And Lisa McClain says, no, there kind of isn't.
The witness testimony, of course, all indicating or suggesting that there could be some serious crime here, like bribery or
there really could be. We just can't find the evidence.
Money laundering. Have you been able to identify any actual policy changes that Joe Biden made as a result of getting money from China?
The short answer is no. That's what we're trying to get to right now. That's why Jamie Comer, or Chairman Comer, is requesting those documents. The FBI knew he had those classified documents for 18 months and sat on those. What were in those documents?
We don't have any single policy we can point to. You know, you could actually go further. You could even say, all right, let's forget about policies that Biden was bribed to do. Can you name any policy at all that Joe Biden has done that is suspiciously good for China that would even make us think maybe it was something he was paid for? They don't even have that. And there are so many examples of this. You'll remember Ken Buck. He was on CNN and he said, you know, there's all these allegations, but when it comes to evidence, I really haven't seen any at this point.
2 days ago, you said that the time for impeachment is when there's evidence linking President Biden to a high crime or misdemeanor. You said, quote, that doesn't exist right now. Do you still feel that way tonight?
I have not seen any evidence that links President Biden to Hunter Biden's activities at this point. I will be getting a briefing later in the week. I'm looking forward to understanding more of what the Oversight Committee has uncovered. But at this point, I have not seen that evidence.
That's the theme. Okay, these are not outliers. The theme is Republicans make a ton of claims about Joe Biden. Republicans admit they don't have any evidence against Joe Biden. And there's some overlap in those two groups. There are those making the claims about Biden and still saying they have no evidence. Here's Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace asked, can you name any policy decision? Forget about just China, more generally. Is there any policy decision at all that Joe Biden has made that you believe he was paid for?
Have you been able to identify specific policy decisions that Joe Biden made that he was paid for?
I have not had the ability to research that. I've been looking more at the LLCs, the bank records, all of the lies that Joe Biden has told, and what evidence we have so far in meetings, dinners, appointments, White House records, et cetera, phone messages, text messages, emails, et cetera, connecting the dots with Joe Biden.
So that's a no. She also can't identify, even though Biden has reportedly been taking cash, just fistfuls of cash, to make good policy for whoever, she doesn't even have a hypothetical policy that he put in place. And then lastly, and we could do so much of this, here's Congressman McCall, who says we don't have any evidence, but maybe we'll find it. I don't know.
That's right. Well, first of all, I've been tasked by the Speaker to assist the oversight and government reform with respect to foreign policy decisions the president may have made or vice president at that time with respect to money coming in to try to tie the two. We don't have the evidence now, but we may find it later.
We may find it later. That's what we're trying to do. These are not serious people. This is not a serious investigation. At some point, shouldn't reasonable people, and I'm not saying these are the reasonable people, but if there were reasonable people around, at some point, wouldn't they start to say, you know, maybe the reason we can't find the evidence is he didn't do the thing we basically accused him of doing. And it was a very similar story with Trump actually won the election. Well, we're we're doing audits and we're checking the ballots for bamboo fibers. We've got 63 court complaints, everything. We're not finding any evidence. That just means we have to keep looking rather than maybe Joe Biden actually won this election. Democrats are aborting babies after birth. Oh, can you find any examples of that? Well, no, but they're certainly doing it. Oh, well, maybe the reason you can't find the evidence is that it's not actually happening. They don't seem like they're ready to give up on this one, but it is going terribly poorly for them. And I can only imagine that if indeed Joe Biden wins re-election, one view would be they'll stop doing this because there won't be any more elections to run. That's incorrect. If Joe Biden wins re-election, these same people are going to keep doing it with the idea that, okay, he may have won, but now we're going to get him out through impeachment. To be totally clear, if there's evidence against Joe Biden, I want to know it. I don't care what party anyone is a member of. If someone that is in an elected official working in an official capacity at this level, any level, but in particular at this level, if that person has done the things they've accused Joe Biden of doing, I want to know. I don't want it covered up because he's a Democrat. In fact, I would want to know as soon as possible in order to be able to say, hey, well, maybe he does need to be impeached. In this case, there is no evidence, and it's increasingly looking like the reason is that Joe Biden actually isn't a mafia-style crime boss who has a 40 or 50-year career of what they're accusing him of. He's just a guy who has a relatively clean background. That it may be that boring and that simplistic. Call me crazy. One of our sponsors today is Manscaped. They make excellent products. You've got the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This is Manscaped's 5th generation body trimmer and groin trimmer. You've got 2 next-gen blade heads, your standard trimmer blade for taking off a little bit of hair, the foil blade for taking off a bunch of hair. All of Manscaped's devices are waterproof and perfect for the shower. You'll also want to pick up Manscaped's Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and Crop Preserver Anti-Chafe Deodorant. Whether you're shopping for yourself, maybe there's a guy in your life, Manscaped offers the perfect bundle with everything. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra includes the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Groin Trimmer, the Weed Whacker 2.0 Ear and Nose Trimmer, Manscaped's liquid formulations, and 2 free gifts, Manscaped's Boxers 2.0 premium underwear with moisture wicking technology, and the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag. I have all of this stuff at home. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PACMAN at manscaped.com. The link is down below.